I'm Steve Harding. I've been in Birmingham for most of my working life, actually. And most recently, you might have heard about STEAMhouse, which is a makerspace at the University, Birmingham City University. It's that what was the old co-op building. We had quite humble beginnings. If you recall, we were in a garage in Digbeth. Couldn't get much more humble than that with the roof leaking and stuff. But we had a first makerspace that was only, thinking about it, only 5 or 6 years ago. So the whole thing has come into another level. What I wanted to do was to say, you know, a university, why would we get involved? I was really keen that the university looks at this notion of innovation pull rather than push. In other words, so people like you with ideas, you can come and work in a makerspace and make those ideas make it reality. And use the resources that the university has got, rather than the university or the makerspace pushing stuff out at you and hoping you'll find it useful. So one of the first things we did was a thing called Maker Mondays, where we just had every month we had a maker session at a local cafe. We used a Facebook page to sign up, and that was a really good, quick, easy win for us. I'm also now, because I met Jeff back in those days, didn't we, Jeff? And I since then worked with Dieter and Jeff and others on the advisory board of Urban Hax and seen with some amazement the developments in Walsall, which is, I think, this is probably one of the most noteworthy spaces now for this maker movement that we've got, certainly in the West Midlands, but I think nationally. So we're part of a big movement. I checked with Jeff, and all building projects take time, but the Guildhall, you know what, obviously, if you're local, the Guildhall was a wonderful building. I think it's a wonderful building that's been kind of, pizza place was the last thing, I think. It's being refurbished, and part of the process of today is that we work with you so that when it's refurbished, what goes in that building is something that you can actually want. So in other words, you can input. There's this notion of co-design, co-development. So today we want really a start of a conversation with you about what you'd like to see in your building in Walsall. It's for you and with you. So it's really important. I just wanted to say a few things about maker spaces, because it might be new for some of you. As a movement, it's a global movement. So what we're doing in Walsall should actually fit into what is a global, international movement of maker spaces. And there's a whole range of things. I mean, Jeff and I both visited Lisbon, where they use their maker space as a kind of a catalyst for economic growth in the city. So in other words, it's core to how local people get involved in doing things. And I'm going to talk about that, and Oliver too, when they're on. So it's really important. But there's other places too. So some of the top universities, particularly in the States, they have their maker spaces too. So Rhode Island School of Design and Engineering on the East Coast. And I did stuff on the West Coast with Carl Poly, where the students there are kind of right in the middle of this tech, you know, they're in the middle of the kind of the growth area of probably the world. And they want skills for interdisciplinary working when they're studying. So I think there's a whole generation we can work with when we look at maker spaces who are studying as well at college and at the university. So I think what I wanted to say, we're part of a global movement, and it's one that's really taking off, and it's great that we're in that space. I would hope we get more European and global links to what Jeff's doing with Urban Hax. So what brings us here? So we're part of Walsall MakerFest, and we're part of the Fringe. So the Fringe is like a parallel showcase, and we hope we intend it to develop a talent pipeline to work in our new space in the Guildhall. Last year, and I'm sure many of you came to the MakerFest in the town, and we got over 50,000 people, which is a stunning amount of people who participated in making. And this year, we've got the session on the 13th of September. So put that in your diaries. I think it's a really kind of, we're kind of trailblazing, I think, in terms of what we're doing in Walsall. And we can definitely make a stamp on what we're doing in the wider West Midlands. I would say, and I will say, that we need some positive news. We're surrounded by, I think, challenges as a city and as a region. I think we need to step up, and I think one of the ways we'll do that is working with each other, if you like, a bottom-up approach, and not waiting for others to say, this is what you need to do. So I would offer that as a challenge to us today in the presentations and what happens afterwards, that we can form the future we want to a culture, a creative-led Walsall in that bigger picture of the West Midlands. We really have that ability, I feel. So we're at the start of real change here. So I'm so pleased to see so many of you here. We've got plenty of time for networking during the day. My job is to kind of make the flow go well, hopefully, and just introduce the speakers and to kind of give them a showcase for themselves that they can, if you like, add to what I've described in terms of this maker movement.